Yeah, Bullet Train. Another thing I'm really excited about. Bullet Train. David Leitch, I believe. Brad Pitt. Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Brian Tyree Henry may be in there as well. A big movie that's coming out in maybe a week or so, I want to say. In the early reviews, the lucky few who have been able to go in and watch this movie have gave their initial thoughts on it, and apparently mixed thoughts, mixed reviews on this movie. And as you can see here, it's been written by Kitaro Asaki. Such an interesting concept, man. You speak about interesting concepts, adaptations. The concept of a bullet train and these ragtag group of people want to kill each other on said train is not something that's fresh by any means. We've seen it with Bong Joon-ho. I always screw his name up. Boon Jong-ho. I think it's Bong Joon-ho is how you say it. Snowpiercer, where you've got civilization living on in this huge train. They're warring, and as the movie advances, this select few make their way up the train. That's maybe not exactly what's happening in Bullet Train, but it's a similar concept, and it's something that really does lend itself well to a man like David Leitch, a man who was a stunt coordinator, a choreographer in a previous life, and who knows how to make insane one-shot action scenes. Anyone that's seen Atomic Blonde will attest to that. He worked on John Wick with Chad Stahelski. Guy's a phenomenal action director. Yeah, I'm that with that cast I just mentioned, the concept, and it was a movie I was very excited about. So I'm slightly concerned when they say the reviews are mixed. And I'm going to read a couple, just to get a sense of what that mixed means. And I'm going to start with Screen Rant. Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, I always screw it up. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Gordon Joseph Levitt, John David Washington, David John Washington. I always mix them. I always screw it up. And in his case, I just completely make up new words. Boon Jong-ho, it doesn't make sense. But here you go, Ben Kendrick. Screen Rant has been speaking about Bullet Train. He had this to say: in many respects, the experience is style over substance at every turn. But to its credit, Bullet Train is so stylish that it's easy to ignore that any words coming out of Leitch's characters are designed to sound cool, even when feigning substantive rather than bothering to reveal something truly penetrating. Ladybug repeatedly ruminates on his efforts at self-betterment. Ladybug is the name of the Brad Pitt character, by the way. It's a strange name for a borderline 6 foot guy with swept back blonde hair who's a bit of a handyman when it comes to violence. Ladybug, it's not the name I would have chose if I was him, but hey ho, I'm sure there's a rationale for it. He repeatedly ruminates self-betterment. Towards the end of the film, he's still operating out of a relatively inane understanding of fate and luck. Yet that doesn't really matter to Leitch, because the character has endured a non-stop barrage of over-the-top fights, inter-assassin banter and hilarious misfortunes. Look, ultimately that's all I want out of this movie. I don't need Oscar baiting direction or dialogue or story. All I need is a slick popcorn flick with great action and violence, and just the classic witty back and forth action dialogue. That's all I care about. I expect more Guy Ritchie in here than Martin Scorsese. Ultimately for me, that's what I'm going into this movie for, and if that's what I get, I'm going to be a happy man. I want more of what I've seen in the actual trailer. Stupid music, shouldn't fit but does. Stylistic violence, that's what I want. A bug for the ladies, but not so strange, eh? Yeah, he is. To be fair, you're right. He is a bit of a bug for the ladies. He's been around our city as well as Brad. He likes Glasgow apparently. I don't know why, but he does. And apparently had a bit of a relationship here as well, so yeah. Brad's been doing that for 40 years now, 30 years now, however long he's been acting. He's older than you think. I think he's touching his mid-50s or something, or maybe early 50s, which shocked me when I discovered it. I didn't think he was that old. But when you think about it, he's always been there. He's always been there. I mean, the guy's been there since the 90s. And that's a good 20 plus years now, so shouldn't be a surprise. Maybe he can get into the 80s. I don't know. I'd naturally have to look into his career. But look, that doesn't matter. Get into the next one. I'm going to ditch Deadline. You know, we'll read Deadline. We'll read Deadline and probably Collider because it's shorter than Variety. And then I'll go off to Pastures New and speak about something else. Pete Hammond. These names are very beige names for film critics, incidentally. They usually have really absurd names. But they've just made them up. They've tried their hand at show business, tried to be a film star in their own right. Not quite made it, but the name stuck. And now they're a writer. But not today. These guys are beige as hell. Probably middle-aged white guys with side sheds. Pete Hammond had this to say: "I'm not at all sure what it looked like on the page, but on the screen it is a little more than a live action cartoon." Well, that's what I want. Or should I say anime? Again, what do you want? What more would you possibly want for an hour 40-minute movie? Live action anime with violence? Fucking right, I'm in there. Get in there, man. That's what I want. Leech stages one badass action scene after another. What were you expecting, Pete? This is David Leitch, mate. It's an assassin try to take a break on a bullet train and other assassins come after him. Were you expecting something different, Pete? This is what I signed up for, mate, when I read about this movie. This is what I expected. This is what I want. The fuck? Leech stages one badass, yep. Pitt navigates it all with a measure of wit and snappy one-liners at every turn. I can't say that the thing ever goes off the rails, because it never was on the rails to begin with. It all seems like an attempt to draw an undemanding international audience with a well-chosen in-game cast that is something for everyone who wants to submit to mindless adventure. I just don't get that review. That review is maybe about 100 words long, and it just goes round and roundabouts, circles, never really gets to the point. It's a strange piece of writing from Pete Hammond. What was he expecting from this movie? I can't understand it. My brain really does boggle at what I've just read there. I should have ditched Deadline. Shouldn't have went near them. Incidentally, look at this fucking guy's get up. Bucket hat, Ray-Bans, incredible head of hair. This is him undercover. No chance. Absolutely no chance. We've got other reviews, incidentally. I'm not going to touch on these ones because I ain't get the time. And it's boring, me just sitting reading a paragraph. Some people would say it's boring, period, me just sitting. Beige as hell. Is my humour broken? It's beige. Oh, we'll get iPlayer coming up. Wow. Thank you so much. Who is it? Screen Rant for giving me a full-length advertisement. I appreciate it, and I can't even get it off. Fucking brilliant. What a website. Let's just refresh and hopefully the advert's gone. Fucking iPlayer. Who gives a shit about iPlayer? Bro, how are you? I'm doing fantastic, my friend. Late as hell here, so I'm trying to do this quickly, but I'm doing fantastic nonetheless. If you've come in regarding the SS Rajamouli headline, needless to say, he's expressed an interest in wanting to make a Prince of Persia movie. I don't know if you even know what that is, but it's a video game, and it's a very good video game, and he should make it. Hollywood should give him $200 million to go and make that fucking movie, because it deserves to be made. That's it in kind of shortened form, what I was speaking about. That'd probably make for better viewing, me just giving short one-liners that you can perhaps understand and then moving on, instead of speaking for 20 minutes and just repeating myself like a dementia patient. But look, I digress. Variety, Scott Garfield. The fight scenes feel relatively original. Relatively? Well, I mean, it's fucking David Leitch, he should be very original. It's kind of what you get with the man, which is impressive unto itself. Considering how many other creative filmmakers there are trying to distinguish themselves in the genre, Leitch tends to approach these standoffs the way Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire once did their dance numbers. The violence needn't be taken literally, which is tough at times considering how brutal the bloodshed can be, but rather appreciated mostly for their choreography and capacity to surprise. This guy is an ex-stunt choreographer. He knows choreography. Watch Atomic Blonde one-shot scene. Search it up if you haven't seen it. It is phenomenal. One woman taking out about 10 guys, 15 guys down a flight of stairs. And it's just stunning. This is what this guy brings. And again, he worked in the first John Wick movie with Chad Stahelski. Some of the best one-shot shooting stuff you'll see in movie. Just period film. So he knows what he's doing. This shouldn't be a surprise to these guys. Are supposed to be film critics, and they're impressed by David Leitch doing what David Leitch does. This is why I was excited about this movie. It's a train, assassins, and it's Leitch. Perfect match, man. The first time I read about this, I'm like, this is fucking perfection. This movie should be great. I watched the trailer and it sounded like Guy Ritchie, it looked like Guy Ritchie, it felt like Guy Ritchie's Lock, Stock, 2 Smoking Barrels. The Gentleman. You mix that vibe with the aforementioned stuff, I'm in, man. It's my kind of movie. I will be in the theatre to see this movie, day one, if not day two. Ross Bonamy, potentially French, I don't know, maybe Belgian, has had this to say: the closest I can get to Belgian's a Carmelite triple beer. I've got Belgian in me, I've got Belgian ancestry, got everything in me. Us Europeans are complete mongrels, which is why the pathetic alt-right and right-wing movements in Europe that speak about superiority and indigenous peoples of Northwest Europe are complete gimps, idiots. We are not indigenous. We are all one. It's a nonsense. I'll get into that in a moment. Ross Bonamy. At its best though, Bullet Train is a game cast having a ball with this lunacy. In a film that is always barely skating by on the right side of stupid, Bullet Train is trying to make this story a more involved narrative about fate and luck that feels the need to tie everyone together with a bow. But really, it's at its best when it's just a bunch of celebrities attempting to kill each other and having fun little conversations in between. That's what I want, man. They say the reviews are mixed. They're not mixed. What's happening here is people getting into this movie with unrealistic expectations, looking for something that was never going to be there. They were looking for bigger, more poignant story. Maybe storytelling is the better word there. They were looking for something that was never going to be there. This was just about a guy, almost like Polar, with Mads Mikkelsen, trying to retire from the game potentially and getting sucked back in to the chaos. Violence, bodies flying all over the place on a train, that's what you get. And the people who seem to have went in with this in mind, realising that's what they're getting, have enjoyed it. The people who didn't, maybe not enjoyed it so much. Atomic Blonde, I loved that movie, so stylish and unique. This is what you get with Leach, man. It's not Oscar bait and stuff. There's better movies out there, but you sit and you enjoy it, man. It's slick. That's what you get from his movies. I'm looking forward to this movie, man. I'm hoping it's a success. I like Brad Pitt. He was a bit of a pretty boy back in the day, but he's a brilliant actor. He's a cool guy off the screen as well. I'm glad he's still acting, because there was a point round about Ad Astra, roughly about 5 years ago, where he was talking about retiring, maybe even 3 years ago. He was talking about finishing as an actor and going off and doing something new. That would have been a crime against humanity. He's a really charismatic, one of a kind, generational talent. Really eloquent speaker as well. So I'm glad to see this guy's back acting and he's staying acting, it looks like, and doing different things like this. Not doing your Meet Joe Blacks, which was alright. Not doing your romantic stuff. Getting back into the sort of snitch, Guy Ritchie stuff, if that's what it was called, Snatch. Mr. Bonamy there said exactly what I expect from this movie. Exactly, man. That's what you should go in looking for, and you'll not be disappointed. I'm positive you will not be disappointed.